views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of Bronxnet or the program underwriters.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr., and I'm here with a number of elected officials and community organizations on Fordham Road. We've been joined by Council Member Ruben Diaz Sr. We've been joined by State Senator Jamal Bailey. We've been joined by State Senator Gustavo Rivera. We've been joined by Assembly Member Victor Pichardo, by Assembly Member Jeff Dinowitz. We've been joined by the District Leader of this area, Yudeca Tapias, the Councilman of this area, Fernando Cabrera. We got Assemblyman Jose Rivera, Councilwoman Vanessa Gibson, Assemblywoman Natalia Fernandez. We have with us Congressman Elliot Engel. We have Congressman Adriano Espaillat. We have the Chair of the Democratic Party, Assembly Member Marcos Crespo. We have with us Assembly Member Michael Blake. We have with us Council Member Andy Cohen. We have with us, who else am I missing from the electeds? We have District Leader Cynthia Cox. You will be hearing after me from District Attorney Darcel Clark, and the Speaker of the New York State Assembly, Carl Hasty, has just joined us. We got Assemblywoman Latoya Joyner with us here as well. We also have the New York Hispanic Clergy Organization that is with us. We have Father Cruz, who's representing Catholic Charities, who is with us. We have organizations that have helped out not only during these last 24 hours, but also during the pandemic and to curb the violence in the Bronx and throughout the city of New York. Organizations like SOS and BRAG and Release the Grip, and these are all cure violence organizations.
Guns Up, Life In.
We got Guns Up, Guns Down, Life Up. We have the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation, Marlene Cintron. We have also Lisa Soren from the Bronx Chamber of Commerce. We have individuals who are the most important. If you look, all of the young people from this neighborhood who have brooms, let's give it up for the young people who came out here and cleaned up their neighborhood. Last night was a rough night. Last night was a rough night, not just for the Bronx. Last night was a rough night for all of New York City. Last night was a tough night for law enforcement. Last night was a tough night for small businesses. Last night was a tough night for this community. But even more so, last night, in my opinion, was a devastating blow to our pursuit of justice. Those of us who are here, each and every single one of us, we believe in the right to protest. We believe that protesting is a constitutional right. We believe and we identify with the pain and the anger of the community. What we saw with George Floyd was a man, and this is my opinion, I don't speak here for everybody. He was killed, he was murdered in broad daylight by police officers. America saw that, the world saw that. And we're not just angry about that, we're angry because it wasn't the first time. You see, some of us have been marching for a very, very long time. Some of us, like me, just me, the people that I marched for in the mid-90s, you have Anthony Baez, you have Hilton Vega, you have Anthony Rosario, Amadou Diallo, Sean Bell, Abner Louima, Ramarley Graham. The list goes on and on. And so what you see is the pain of a particular way that black and brown communities are being policed for way too long. You conflate that with the fact that this pandemic has decimated areas like the Bronx, areas like here in Fordham Road, where we see that we have high levels of death, where we see that people are hospitalized, where we see that our family members continue to hurt and struggle. So when we look at protesters, we say, raise your voices, let it be heard, go out there and pursue justice. But we're also here to say that what happened here tonight was not about justice. We're here to say that what happened here tonight was a direct assault on what we are trying to accomplish to commemorate the life and the legacy of the George Floyds, of the Breonna Taylors, of the Ahmaud Arbery's, of the Michael Browns, and so many others that have suffered at the hands of police brutality. We're also here to say that we collectively acknowledge that there is systemic racism. That when you look at young people protesting and letting their voices be heard, when they get emotional, it's about the lack of resources to the school system. It's about the lack of opportunity. And all of us here have been clamoring this all along. And so we're tired. We're angry. We're in pain. We're suffering. We're sick. And we're saying that enough is enough. But when you look at the criminal element that is taking advantage of this movement, we're saying we're not going to tolerate you either. This here at Fordham Road, this is a great story of urban revitalization. We've been working too hard. We've been working too long. We've all been working together to make sure that we create jobs, to help small businesses. When you look at Burnside, the store owners there are all minority, many of them women. And all the folks, all these guys did yesterday was destroy the very businesses, the very community that's working so hard to lift up this part of the Bronx and every other part of New York City. And so I'm glad that today we have so many people who have come together to say protesting is your constitutional right. But what happened last night was not a protest. What happened last night was criminal. And what happened last night, we cannot tolerate. It is unacceptable. And we say no to it collectively. No more. No more. No more. We have so many elected officials. I see Councilmember Rafael Salamanca's with us here today. I'm not going to have all of them speak, but I do want the top law enforcement official of the Boogie Down Bronx, a historic figure, the first woman, the first black woman elected as district attorney of any district in the entire state of New York, Darcel Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Borough President, and thank you everyone for coming here tonight. I share in the sentiments that our Borough President has expressed. I've been in this county my entire life, and I've seen injustices not only here, but all over this country. What happened in Minneapolis has happened all over this country, and to see that on TV in front of everybody just reminds us how far we have not come. We have fought so long to bring justice to communities of color, and to see that brings us steps backwards. You have the right to protest. I want you to protest. I'm a lawyer. I know about the Constitution and the constitutional right to assemble and to have your voice heard. And we respect that, and I want that, because I feel your pain too, and I want to express it as well. But there's a time and a place and a way to do that. To come out here and to destroy our own Bronx community is not the way. Violence is not going to bring about the change that we need. The change that we need is in you. The change that we need is with these elected officials that you put in office. Let us help you bring the change that we need in our community. Now, of course, my job is criminal justice. And anybody who wants to peacefully protest, I am here with you. I stand shoulder to shoulder with you. But if you are going to decimate our communities and our businesses, we will not stand for that. I will not stand for that. We deserve better. Anytime the resources are lacking in our communities, it causes people pain. We need to fight to get those resources here. And by looting and destroying property, you're setting us back. I was around in 1977 when we had those looting and stuff from that blackout. It took decades for the Bronx to come back. Why would you want to set us back again? There's a way to do this. Let's do this peacefully. Let's bring about the reforms that we need. We have officials here that are responsible for the reforms that have already been happening. We were moving forward on this. To do this, you're setting us back. Don't do this. Please, this is the Bronx. We are better than this. We are better than this. Let the Bronx, let New York set the example for the entire country. Let us show people how to make change in the right way. Let us start in the Bronx and let us start now. Thank you.
By the way, I was here all morning. If you are a young person and you came today with a broom to clean up, please raise your hand. Please raise your hand. Let's see all the hands of the people. You came to clean up, raise your hand. If you came to, lower that. If you came to clean up. Look at all of the young people. These are the kids, these are the young folks who believe in this community. We've been joined by Assemblywoman Carmen Arroyo. For those who have been protesting, when we say let your voices be heard, your voices have been heard. With all the protests that I did, with so many folks here, we've never threw one bottle. You've never seen one brick thrown. And we were able to get real reform. Around Amadou Diallo, they had the street crimes unit. The street crimes unit was disbanded. We've done away with the way that stop and frisk was being done. We've done away with so many other things. And to talk about how you've been heard, we have the highest ranking member of the New York State Legislature here with us. He's from the Bronx, another historic figure, somebody who looks like us, who lives with us here in the Bronx. He is the Speaker of the New York State Assembly, Speaker Carl Hastie.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, this has been a painful couple of weeks. And I just want to say our House, we had a long conference on what we want to do as a legislature going forward to try to deal with some of the systemic challenges that communities of color have faced, the over-policing that we faced. And we decided, myself and in the Assembly, along with the Senate and Andrew Stewart-Cousins, that we're going to go to Albany next week and deal with some of the challenges that we've heard. And I just want everybody to know, we've heard your pain. As a black man, every day when I get up and look in the mirror, I know that pain. But what happened here in the Bronx last night is unacceptable. If people want to protest, protest. If you want to honor the legacy of Mr. Floyd, do that. But his own family has pleaded with people to not use his death as an excuse for what happened here in the Bronx last night. It is heartbreaking to see the faces of these black and Latino business owners who have seen their businesses destroyed. I've shopped here on Fordham Road since I was a little boy. And to see the devastation that has happened here, as Ruben mentioned on Burnside, it is unacceptable. There are a lot of things that we have to change. Decades and decades and decades of communities of color being left behind, discriminated against, over-policed. But there's a way to do that. And we want to try to tackle some of those challenges next week when we go back to Albany. But what happened here last night was almost like I was watching a scene out of a movie. It was horrifying, some of the things that we saw. These deaths, and Ruben counted off the names of the people. There's others, Eleanor Bumpers, so many people. They would not want what happened to them to be an excuse what happened here in the Bronx last night. We should not be destroying our own communities. Should not be selfish and take this for your own gain when people's blood has been spilt. This is not the way. We are better than this. The Bronx is better than this. And I want to applaud every person who's out here to try to help clean up and stand with these business owners who have suffered because of what happened last night. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And the Speaker's correct. The Speaker's correct. None of us could possibly be more angrier than George Floyd's family. And they're not looting. They're not burning anything down.
They're pleading.
They're pleading so that folks don't do that. So you can't be more angrier than them and justify bad behavior by saying you're so pissed off when the same family is not that way. I'm going to speak in Spanish in a little bit, but before I do that, I want the young people here to be represented by one of their voices who came out here today because they did not like what they saw. Even though they believe in protest, even though they are angry, they came out here and they were with me since 8:30 in the morning with their brooms, sweeping up all of Fordham Road. Please help me welcome Destiny here to speak for the young people.
All right, Destiny.
You have Natalia and Victoria.
Hi, hello, how are you? My name's Destiny. I live in this community. I've lived in this community my entire life. I think first and foremost, we would like to say as a group, Amin and Brent also helped organize this. And I think we would just like to say that Black lives do matter. And that's an important issue, and we understand the systemic issues of the reality that we're living in. That being said, we also know that Fordham is a predominantly black and brown neighborhood, and it's really kind of sometimes unfair because our neighborhoods can get overlooked, you know, and our neighborhoods can get left behind a little bit, and we don't have the same funding that other neighborhoods do. So when we see the looting that happens to our neighborhoods, we understand, you know, why, but it's also up to us to fix it. You know, it's an issue within our community. It's an issue within all of us, within society, you know, so we really just wanted to take it upon ourselves to let our Black brothers and sisters know that we love them and we're here for them and we're here for this neighborhood and we stand together and we're cleaning this neighborhood for us, you know, not for anybody else. This is something that's super important to one another, and it's really imperative that this community stands together, and that's the statement that we want to make today.
Thank you. Thank you, Destiny.
Thank you, Destiny. Destiny. So Destiny, look, we have John, you got Heaven, you have all of these young people who have come out because they did not like what they saw. I just want to, before we finish off, one of the businesses owners that was affected last night is here with us also. There's so many of them, but I want her to say a few words. She's not on Fordham, she's on Burnside. And I was just in her store this morning cleaning up her store. And it's a shame what happened to Jessica. Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica. Where's Jessica? Say your name and your store.
Hello guys, my name is Jessica Betancourt. I'm the owner of Bronx Optical Center, 2 West Burnside, and the store is completely destroyed, and we are devastated that our neighborhood is turning to be violent. We put hard work to make a difference in our community, and our hard work is, I guess, is not paying off. And I guess it's okay for violence, and violence is not okay. George Floyd died, yes, he did. We're not respecting his memory by committing so much violence. We need to stop this right now. Our small businesses are hurting. We need help, and we gotta get together and be strong amongst each other. These are just small businesses. I have another business here also that got destroyed. She's the owner of the pharmacy San Gabriel, the same Burnside Avenue, and we're here to call for unity and for peace. We're not here to be violent. It's okay to protest. It's okay to voice your opinion, but it's not right to destroy us. Right. We're giving everything to you guys. The only thing that we want back is peace and respect.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you all for being here. Are there any questions? I'll take a couple. I mentioned Natalia and Latoya. I mentioned them. Yes. I don't know if the district attorney is going to take questions. No? Is it on topic?
I can't even hear her.
She's talking about prosecution last night.
We have cases pending. We're evaluating them now. I mean, it takes time to do that. We're going through them now. I'm not going to rush it.
There's a long list of bills that have there's a long list of bills that have long been under consideration by the legislature. I don't want to speak to any specific bill at this point because we're still in discussions with the state Senate, but I would say along the list of the long time, of course, is consideration around 50A, racial profiling, to give a couple of examples. So it's been bills that we've been wanting to champion and have been championing for years. But like I said, I don't want to mention bills and they'll not be on the package. But I think the bills that you've been hearing floating, those are the ones that are under consideration that the legislature is discussing. I can't even hear you. I think the number one objective right now should be to protect the businesses and property, allow people to protest and show how they feel about the situations that has happened. And then that coordination can be worked out with the mayor, but if they feels like he needs assistance from the governor, that's between the two of them.
Mr. Speaker, what needs to change about 50A? What can and should change about 50A, Mr. Speaker?
Well, I mean, there's an entire bill, and it's like I said, I don't want to negotiate the whole thing, but I think the transparency of knowing, incidences that a police officer has been involved with, with the public, I think is the paramount objective.
Look, I've been speaking to the chief all night, the Bronx police chief. He was out here all night. He left at 8 o'clock in the morning. And tell that to the police officers who, some of them were beat up. One of them was hit by a car. They were chasing people back and forth all night. Could they have done something better? Could we have been better prepared? No one saw this coming. Remember that this was not an organized protest. This is not a rally gone bad. This is not like they marched from the courthouse over here and then people started looting. No one knew, no one had a heads up. In fact, we were looking at Bay Plaza. We were looking at other areas. And so this happened in Co-op City, this happened all of a sudden. So, I wasn't here last night, but what I know from speaking to the Bronx chief, what I've seen on images, I think that, and what I see here today, the Bronx, the police department has tried to do the best that they could under the circumstances.
What do you think about tonight?
I think we learned. I think they're learning from what happened last night. They'll be better prepared. There has to be more presence of police officers. They got to be dispatched not only here, but in Burnside, in the hub on 3rd Avenue, Southern Boulevard, Bay Plaza, Kingsbridge got hit. So I think now hopefully we're gonna be better prepared tonight.